Coming up in tonight's bulletin, Australia commits $572 million for the second international submarine cable to the Solomon Islands. Cervical cancer remains one of the leading causes of death among women in the country, and the Solomon Islands National Sports Council report it is struggling to maintain the government-owned sporting facilities at King George VI. Hello, you're watching SIBC's TV News Bulletin. I'm Sharon Nanau. Australia has pledged $572 million to fund a second international submarine cable for the Solomon Islands, a major investment set to boost the nation's digital reliability and expand high-speed internet through the new Honiara cable. Andrea Mahanua reports.
Australia has announced a $572 million Solomon investment to boost Solomon Islands' digital connectivity through the construction of a second international submarine cable, the Honiara cable. The 1,015-kilometre fibre optic system will link with the Pacific Connect network and complement the existing Coral Sea cable, providing critical redundancy for stable high-speed internet. Announcing the commitment in Brisbane, Senator Nita Green said the project will improve reliability and support economic growth. The launch was witnessed by Prime Minister Honourable Jeremiah Manele at the margins of the 14th Australia Solomon Islands Business Forum in Brisbane. Speaking at the launch, Finance and Treasury Minister Honourable Rexon Ramaphosa reaffirmed the Solomon Islands government's commitment to leveraging modern digital infrastructure to empower citizens and support sustainable growth across the country. The Honiara cable is being delivered through a partnership between the Solomon Islands government, the Solomon Islands Submarine Cable Company, and the Australian government through the Australian Infrastructure Financing Facility for the Pacific. With an investment of over $100 million, the project will interconnect with the Bulikula system, part of Google's Pacific Connect initiative. The Bulikula system links Guam to Fiji, providing an additional international route for data traffic. This ensures that Solomon Islands maintains connectivity even if one cable is impacted, supporting stable access to the global internet and digital services. The project is expected to be completed in late 2027. Andrea Mahanwa for SIBC TV.
Cervical cancer remains one of the leading causes of death among women in the Solomon Islands, with health officials reporting 40 to 50 cases detected at the National Referral Hospital each year. Linton Kere reports.
Cervical cancer remains one of the leading causes of death among women in the country. Director of the Reproductive Maternal Child Health Division, Dr. Sarah Habu, confirmed this at an event marking the first ever World Cervical Cancer Elimination Day in Honiara today. She highlighted that the National Referral Hospital records 40 to 50 cervical cancer cases each year. Dr. Habu explained that these are cases that were able to be detected and referred to the NRH. Meanwhile, Janet Pada from the Cervical Cancer Program Office emphasized the importance of awareness to ensure women undergo early detection.
If I've been doing service, if I've been rolling out lot provinces, but if I look in the turnout, I'm very low. But the disease itself may keep rising. So women think that they are well, so they not come forward and not doing check. But then the moment that I come check, and if I find him that number him increasing. So the information is very important, that if Ota got good information, but as I come forward, then by Ota Save doing check, then by me Save looking what na status like Lota communities blue.
Linton Kere, SIBC TV.
The Solomon Islands National Sports Council says it is struggling to maintain government-owned facilities at King George VI. Spending over $2 million Solomon this year alone, and warning that higher usage fees are needed to remain financially stable. Simon Tavake with the details.
The Solomon Islands National Sports Council, SINSC, is struggling to take care of and maintain the government-owned sporting facilities at King George VI. This was revealed by SINSC Chief Executive Officer Alison Birchall when the Ministry of Home Affairs appeared before the Public Accounts Committee today. She said they have spent more than $2 million Solomon dollars this year alone on maintaining the facilities. Ms. Birchall added that unless usage fees are increased, the Council will not be able to operate in a self-sustaining way.
The short answer to that, Chair, is that unless we increase the usage fees, we will not be able to be self-sustaining.
So what's the kind of a number pressure that you are exposed to?
At the moment, for overall all of the facilities, we have spent, excluding salaries, in this year up until the end of October, we've spent $2.8 million. So that's excluding salaries. And we've made an income of $3 million. So at this, I think the world over, for example, swimming pools are never a profit-making enterprise because the maintenance costs are so high because you need to have a filter system operating. We are operating the filter system at least 8 hours a day, for example, because otherwise the water goes green. You need chemicals to go into the pool.
She further stated that they are working on a salary budget of about $14 million as they plan to employ more workers.
At the moment, we're working on a budget of about, because the full amount is not appropriated, that has been appropriated isn't paid. But at the moment, we've got a salary budget in the region of $14 million.
14 million?
Yeah, but we need to employ more people because, as you understand, in Honiara, for example, cleaning is always a big issue. Getting rid of mold is a big issue. When people are coming for events, and it's making sure that the toilets are clean, etc. So, for example, security is $2 million a year. Electricity is at least $5 million a year. Water is $1.5 million a year.
Simon Tawake, SIBC TV.
Now, aid for education and health in the Pacific Island countries has fallen to its lowest level, according to the Lowy Institute Pacific Aid Map 2025, even as funding for infrastructure projects continues to rise. Andrea Mahanua reports.
The Lowy Institute Pacific Aid Map 2025 report shows that aid support for education and health sectors have dropped drastically as aid funding for infrastructure projects continues to rise across Pacific Island countries. Speaking to local media, co-author of the Pacific Aid Map 2025, Riley Duke, said support for these two areas is currently at its lowest. He said this comes at a time when education levels across the region are also dropping.
So one of the concerns that we've had in the last few years is that as more money has been spent on big infrastructure projects, that financing support, so development support for things like education and health across the Pacific has actually fallen. It's been a bit more stable in the Solomons, but generally when we look at the whole region, the total amount of development support for education is close to the lowest that it's ever been. And so as there's lots of factors dragging focus for both Pacific governments and their development partners, and things like education are seeing less support, also at a time when education outcomes in the Pacific have been declining. And so it's a trend that we are watching closely, and we do think it's something to be a bit concerned about.
Mr. Duke added it also needs to be acknowledged that infrastructure aid projects are sometimes not captured under the education and health sectors.
So it's true that these things are always interconnected. A new school is not valuable or cannot be used by its community if the people, the roads aren't there to get people to it. So these things are always interconnected. I guess on the subject of education, though, that when we look at the effect that the COVID-19 pandemic had on school outcomes, literacy rates across the Pacific are dropping. There's the Pacific Standardized Learning Outcomes, or the PILNES scores. And across almost all of the Pacific, they are either flat or dropping. So I do agree that that infrastructure, can be sometimes more important. But the same amount of infrastructure that was available now was here 10 years ago. But more young could access better forms of education then, speaking generally. So I guess the thing is that the change has been very acute in the last few years, and it doesn't seem like the donors or broadly the Pacific countries have really responded in full to those trends yet.
Ministry of National Planning and Development Coordination Permanent Secretary Brian Linga also acknowledged that, as is the case, education and health infrastructure are not captured under these two sectors. He said for Solomon Islands, the government is mindful of the country's social sector.
I think also more present him today. I'm not tell him that education and health and decline. Maybe the investment law infrastructure towards health and education may be counted as infrastructure, but him go towards health and education. So what government him try for them this time is for balancing. While you may try for a focus law what a resource sector, productive and resource sector, where him na give him maybe developing economy believe the government am also mindful of social sector too. So we invest to law health infrastructure, education, social sector. So for me, health and education need blood people believe.
Andrea Maahanwa for SIBC TV.
Now, women in Telina, Marovo are turning traditional weaving into a source of income and empowerment, crafting baskets, fans and purses to support their families and strengthen economic resilience. Linton Kere traveled to Marovo and filed this story.
In the remote community of Telina in Marovo, Western Province, women are weaving more than just baskets. They are crafting livelihoods, strengthening empowerment, and building economic resilience for their families. Weaving is part of the daily routine where their skills and creativity transform natural materials into baskets, fans, and even purses. To gain deeper insight into their work, SIBC TV spoke with several women weavers who shared their experiences and the importance of weaving in their everyday lives.
Before coming, mi fala Honiara, mi fala first one for Sabina, how for weave any kind of basket, fan, base na. What else when mi for Sabina for working? Mi fala Honiara, mi fala first to working na everything, and then some women outside. Okta bilis mi fala, okta looking na how mi fala dream every worker, then outside look for them na then okta kyo worker. Comes a time that mi fala osem bon come, mi fala orang mi fala start sabe, learning na how for bani for sabe vi. So ta grani blo mi fala, o ta na dream first time. So every skills blo ta grani blo mi fala, hemna mi fala o ta woman this time, age blo mi fala this time, mi fala sabe too, how for dream na o ta every skills blo mi fala o ta woman here lo telina. O ta main customers blo mi fala, o ta lo ad gallery na o sa kam. Tim kam onda lo mi fala. Odol ad kalari na main customer lo mi fala. Lo hiya lo telina. And then basang fala Honiara uta sabi sedem kam to toto for mi fala then basa sedem fala uta. Uta strangles lo mi fala na is that how mi fala strangle for finding money na. Mi fala strangle to mas na for by mi fala how for by mi fala survive lo ta. Homes lo mi fala. How the beginning mi fala sedem go to school, mi fala struggle to mastoya for how na mi fala find them the money for pay na the school fee mi fala beginning at the beginning mi fala other things mi fala need him la mi fala.
At times, the women travel to major events across the Marovo constituency to sell their products. One of their busiest market points is Gasini Port, where they display and sell their crafts whenever ships berth.
First time me learn fun, him help me family blow me, him help me time me bonemot baby blow me or send me sell me take him slen me pay something for me help him family blow me pay napi or same ota kaleko for pikinini blow me or same. Me fa we mot fun blow me fa complete me fa sa golo Gasini Port or same time CPM kamla mi fa sa go market. Him help him ota young girl too ya because ota same last time fa no lanem fanya ota young girls mi fa sa strangle too much. This time fa sabe lo how for make him fun no ma ota young girls mi fa ota easy for take him slen no ma lo how mi fa we win fun.
This thriving weaving culture continues to provide women in Telina with both opportunity and a strong sense of purpose. Linton Kere, SIBC TV.
And that's news. Follow us on sibconline.com.sb and our SIBC News Facebook page for more of our latest stories. Thanks for watching.